2, 1. And we are live, probably.
Hopefully.
Welcome, everybody. Hello, good morning. If you're, in the same time zone as us, or good afternoon or good evening, it is lovely to see all of you. We can't see all of you, but you can see us.
Are we live? Are we sure?
We're live.
All right. Yay. Okay. Sorry. Welcome to Semi Stages of the Pages. We are so excited for our 2022 holiday show. And I'm Morgan.
This is Molly.
And I'm Teresa.
And we are here to talk about titles. So thank you so much for joining us. If you're here joining us, the first thing we wanted to talk about was a recap of the year 2022 and what titles we might have given our year. So, Molly, I feel like you have to go first. Like, how would you title your 2022 year?
Well, maybe some people in the chat can help me here because I have a sentiment, but I'm not quite sure how to express it. Because the sentiment is, I want to do things, but I can't do things because my brain thinks it's not pandemic, but it's still pandemic and there's all this stuff I can't do, but my brain thinks I can still do the things. So it's like the year of wanting but not having.
Okay, the year of wanting but not having. Oh, I love that. Okay.
What about, what do you guys have ones for what was your titles? And you guys, all of you in the chat, I see we've got 3 or 4 or 5 people in the chat already. If you have a title for this past year that you think represents your past year, throw it out there and I'll read it out. I'm following the chat. So anyway.
Yeah. I know I was peeking and I was like, Samantha, you've got to have something funny for your 2022 year. And Santi, like, I'm going to call you out directly because I can't wait to see what you think. My 2022 year was the year of, I'm going to be honest, it was a little bit the year of overwhelm. So like I was happy and I loved everybody I worked with and things were super, super good. And I was around the best people, but I just felt like it was kind of hard to breathe. So maybe hard to breathe would actually be my,
I like
that title. Hard to breathe.
Or like
I like that.
My breath. Something about a time to breathe or something. I don't know. Something fun for a title like that. Yeah.
I like that one. See, and I admit I am not good at titles. I was kind of thinking like the year of catch up, of making up for lost time, of almost like decadence and like the roaring 20s, like, let's go, let's have fun.
Oh, like the overcompensation.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter if we're exhausted or overwhelmed. Let's just keep going. Literally party till you drop. Literally make it up until you drop.
So we have one.
Yay!
One in here. 2020 space 2 : electric boogaloo.
Electric boogaloo.
Electric boogaloo.
Yes, I love it.
I like that. That's fun.
Is the other one impactful? Because I feel like Samantha's titling her year is impactful, which I think fits.
I thought
impactful makeup, impactful something.
Ooh, yeah.
I thought that person was saying that your title, like difficult to breathe or hard to breathe, was an impactful title.
That could be.
I
just like the idea of impactful.
Yeah.
Hard to breathe. The story of surviving 2022.
Ooh, there it is. Hard. Yes. Look at that.
We've got and then we have building on the coast.
Ooh.
Good. Oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
I would want to read that story. That's really fun.
All right, okay. Morgan, what are we doing today?
Okay, I'm really excited. We're going to talk about titles a little bit. We're going to give you an overview of what's great in titles, and then we're going to show you some covers and play with.
We're going to have some activities.
We're going to have some activities. We're going to have fun. So one of the reasons we're doing this is because I need to share with you how titles make me feel. So get ready. Whenever I go to title my book or my work or even a lesson in my classroom, my titles make me feel like this. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see that.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
That is how I feel about trying to come up with titles. I feel like a little person, like my little baby temper tantrum self comes out, but in my big person world. And so it feels like titles for me are really hard. And I just like, I feel like it's in there. It's in there. Come on, you can come out. So I wanted to play with titles, and I just thought that was like a fun image that I wanted to share with everybody.
I love it.
So one of the main things that we decided to focus on with titles is like marketability and genre, because one of the things that you have that's so difficult about titles is just like so many other parts of writing, and they're kind of trendy. What's in is what's popular is different now in 2022 and 2023 than it was in the 1980s. And so different titles are working, maybe not so much in literary fic, but definitely in other genres. And so I think, Molly, you're going to teach us, like you did a bunch of market research, right? And you're going to take it away and teach us.
So let's be clear here. Don't trust an engineer to do things, or do. So we'll start sharing here. So here's what I did. Here is what happened. Here's what I did. I went on Goodreads. So Goodreads every year goes and does the most popular books of the year. So I looked at 2022, all of the popular titles for 2022 across all genres. So that was 320 books. I'm not going to share with you all the results. So if you guys don't know me, my daily life, what I am paid for is data analytics. Yay. I'm not going to go super in depth, but what I really wanted to know was two kind of things. And the first one is, how long are titles? Like when you look at a book title, how long are titles? And so the first thing you find out, if this goes, is there's a lot of data. I will tell you, you don't have to look at the data if you don't want to. Just listen to my lovely voice. And what it says is that most titles are 4 words or shorter. 80% of titles are 4 words or shorter. That's what the modern title is, with the majority of titles being 3 words. But there are some genre distinctions here. So genres that have long titles, romance, over 50% of the most popular romance books had 4-word titles or longer. You'll notice none of the popular romance books had 1-word titles. None of them. That was the only genre that didn't have any 1-word titles. Young adult fiction, so this is like contemporary fiction, also had long titles. Over 50% was 4 words or longer. And middle grade and children's novels also had longer titles. So, something to think about. The genres with the shortest titles, graphic novels. So a lot of graphic novels, you'll notice that big blue bar there, had 1-word titles. It was really popular that graphic novels had 1-word titles. Science fiction, also really popular to have 1-word or 2-word titles, very short. Horror as well. A lot of horror had 2-word titles, and a lot of the 2-word titles was like the fervor, the noun, whatever the noun was, but 2 words starting with the. So that was the first thing, right? Titles
the inspiration, the impact. No, impactful doesn't work.
It's interesting. Like science fiction kind of surprises me. Horror doesn't. Horror is usually fast and to the point. And so that doesn't surprise me that has very short titles. Romance doesn't surprise me either, that one would have long titles. Because you're trying to capture with both of them, you're trying to capture an emotion, but romance, I really feel like you're trying to capture a very positive emotion, whereas horror, you're trying to capture like threats, intensity. Does any of that make sense?
Yeah. And if you think about Stephen King, The Shining, Cujo, right? The Stand, all really short titles. And when you write horror, you want to increase the tempo. And one of the strategies to doing that as an author is to decrease your sentences.
Right.
So if you're trying to increase suspense, You're going to write shorter, choppier sentences. Fragments become more acceptable because they're pushing you through your paces. Where in a romance, the theme, the voice of the novel is going to be to relax into the relationship, to savor the subtleties and intricacies and the subtext and all the things that are going on between you and the person you like or the person who likes you. So I think it's very interesting that even the length of the titles is reflecting to a large extent the emotional feel and probably the sentence lengths in the novels themselves.
So you
said that so
you're
well.
launching me into the next slide. I'm only giving you guys 2 slides on this.
Look
I have
at that.
a lot.
See, we're good like that.
I have a lot of data. So if this is stuff you want me to go into depth because I like went nuts, right? Let me know and maybe we'll do a podcast where we'll do some deep diving here.
Yeah. If you like this in the chat and you want us, because we ended up over researching, we went a little crazy. So if you want us to really go into detail, tell us, and we're happy to do that.
Actually, I'm going to say because I don't want to waste this data, we're going to do a podcast on this, period. and whether you want it or not.
And for reference, so right now I'm only showing some speculative fiction stuff, but I did analyze for nonfiction as well. So I did nonfiction, memoirs, humor, historical memoirs, autobiographies, all that. I did that data as well, but it was a lot of data and it looked really busy. So I condensed it down to just spec fic for this. Next one. So the next one I want to see, okay, are there themes in different genres? And so if I make this slide go.
Teresa, we're in good company because Talia says go for it.
Well, heck yeah.
So we're doing it. She said she'd 100% watch that podcast. Yay.
All right. So the first thing is if you don't know how to title your book, one of the first things you can do is start with the word the. So over 20%, 1 in 5 of these books started with the word the. And especially if you were in mystery thriller genre, they started with the word the maid, the housekeeper, the whatever. The bookkeeper's daughter was one of them. They started with the word the all the time. Another very, very common thing, a prepositional phrase. Over 20% of the titles in there across all genres had a prepositional phrase in there. So, for example, now I can only think of a novel.
I can help.
Yeah, go for it.
So prepositions, just as a quick reminder, help us with placement. So they're like above, under, in, next, beyond. When I teach it, I grab a little stuffed animal and move it around. But I'm trying to decide in my thriller book between one that starts with the covenant as the title, or in faith's name, which would be a propositional phrase. So literally, Molly, as you're teaching me this, I'm like, that's crazy because for my thriller novel, I'm trying to pick between those two.
Yeah.
Between the covenant and in faith's name. So in the chat, if you like one of those better, I would super like to know.
Yeah. So some examples of this from this past year, we had River of the Gods, Prisoners of the Castle, Our Wives Under the Sea, Year of the Tiger, Crying in the Bathroom.
Year of the Tiger was good. If you haven't read that, sorry, but it's so good.
No worries. So that was really, really common, was these prepositional phrases. And there were a ton. The most common type of title was something that started with the and then had a prepositional phrase in it. So things like The Kingdom of the Feared.
Ooh. So those are the longer titles though. So were those used in thrillers and stuff too?
They were used across the board.
Okay. So longer titles.
We would have to go to a more in-depth analysis if you guys wanted that.
Okay.
Why, heck yes, we do. But not
but later.
Later.
Another thing that I thought was really, really interesting, romance, which tended to have the longer titles. Suddenly in romance, you find this thing where a lot of romance titles start saying things using words like us, we, you, together, our, things like that. Like it implies relationship in those titles. So I thought that was really, really interesting. There wasn't a lot of it across like the genres in general, but then suddenly you get to romance and you see this big bloom of these types of words. Might make sense. And then the final one I have is that if you're writing middle grade, you start seeing the protagonist's full name in a lot of middle grade titles, and you don't see it anywhere else. So the big example from this year was Zachary Ying and the Dragon Emperor. But there were 4 or 5. No, 6. I put it in there. It's the data right there. There were 6 of the top 20 titles in middle grade and middle grade that had the protagonist's full name in the title. It was very interesting. So
yeah, I'd love to do a much, much deeper dive on this. This is really cool.
So those are the scratching the surface on this thing. But now we're going to
Can I just say I have to thank the chat because they actually weighed in on that, on the name for my book. So thank you, Sue. Thank you, Talia. That was like awesome.
Excellent. We're going to dive in here and we're going to do a little bit of an activity.
Yay!
So big shout out to my husband who helped me on date night. We're going to look at some covers. We're going to look at some covers and we've photoshopped out the titles. So I know what the answers are, but Teresa and Morgan and you guys in the chat, you're going to work together to try to figure out what you think the genre is of this mystery book. And then using the rules we've just come up with and the rules we've just figured out, if we can come up with different like fun titles for what we think this book might be. You guys ready? I'll prompt you. Don't worry. So we're judging books by their cover, as we promised. And here is the first one.
Oh, I thought it was. Oh, it is the cats.
It is the cat. We're going to put this down here.
Okay, so this genre is clearly romance, like really tender and sweet. It's about relationships, and it's gonna.
Am I on the wrong podcast?
It promises me some happy endings, right?
Okay, so I'm gonna say this is not romance, my friend.
First off, do you either of you know what this book is?
No.
That's okay. If you in the chat know what this book is, great, awesome. You can tell me. I'll give you like super extra bonus points. But that's not the point. Like if you know what a title is, it's great. But our point is we're going to try to see based on the cover art if we know the genre and then come up with whatever title we want that we think was cool.
They're smarter than I am. They know it's horror.
Yeah, they're saying horror in the chat.
I would 100% agree. This is hardcore horror. There's obviously a cat. There's probably some running. There's probably blood.
Possessed. This has got to be like the Stephen King Pet Cemetery. Yeah. That would be my guess.
I was actually thinking it was Pet Cemetery too.
Yeah, if I had to guess.
Pet Cemetery also.
Okay, but is that what you would title this book?
Yes.
I would probably, I don't know, The Cat of Green Eyes.
Oh, there you go.
I like it when the titles
Scratched to Death.
Ooh, scratching the surface. I like it when the titles scratch the surface.
I like my title, Scratched to Death.
Okay, Scratched to Death. Okay,
but to me that would almost be a pulp novel, like almost a Penny Dreadful, like something short and fast. Yeah, if I was going with
like
Scratched
Once Bitten.
Ooh. We have someone in the chat said Silent Spring.
Ooh,
someone else said Cat
springy.
Curse.
Oh, Cat Curse. I like Cat Curse.
Cat Scratch Fever.
When
you sleep, Kitty Fever.
Ooh, Kitty Fever.
That again is very pulpy too.
Yeah, Kitty Fever is pretty pulpy.
All right. Would you
could
like to
you could really go pulpy here, and I'm going to say this, and anyone young out there, cover their ears. But something like, if you're really going pulpy, something like Pussy Fever or something in that area. If there's going to be a villainous female in it.
Ooh, what about the word like Pounce too? Because Pounce has a dark.
Ooh, Pounce is good. Pouncing.
The pounce, because Molly taught me to put the word the in front of it.
What about pounce?
The pounce of, ooh, here's the preposition. The pounce of kitty fever.
But pounce to me is more playful. It's, it makes me think of like, the cat, like, shaking their booty right before they jump. So that's like more playful. Yeah. This is
attack. Attack is good though. The attack of kitty fever.
Again, very pulpy.
All right. Do you guys want to see? Everybody want to see what the real title?
Sure.
It is, like you said, this is Pet Cemetery.
But I like how we changed but cemetery is not spelled correctly. I never realized that.
Yeah.
I think I've read this book too in high school. I think I read it. I never realized.
We have this copy of the book on our shelves. So when my husband was helping me do this, he decided this was one that had to be in here because he loved this cover.
Right.
I almost pulled it out of the book off the bookshelf this morning, but anyway, you guys ready for
shout
the next
out
one?
to some in the chat that are really good. Like, I like the link about fangs. I think that's really nice.
Ooh.
And Talia points out, and I can't believe I missed this because Silent Spring is one of my favorite books. Rachel Carson writes a book about silence for spring and the environment. So that one's really good. And there's a really funny one from Mark in here, Exploding Cats. And then
now we're going
Sue says it's Toby. Where is Toby?
Not exploding.
Exploding Kittens. These are good. These eyes are captivating. That's a beautiful cover. That's breathtaking.
Oh, there's a lot going on with that because that's also a heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we're getting a Neil Gaiman quote, which tells us a little bit more about genre.
It does. I left that in there for you. So what do we think might be the genre
of the next generation of young authors? So intelligent, smart.
This is a sci-fi or a fantasy
with horror elements, or like thriller elements,
or a romance elements, because we're talking about the heart. I would say it's a light sci-fi, possibly into fantasy, urban. Not necessarily urban fantasy.
Chat, do you have any thoughts? Because I'll let you guys know the genre before you start guessing titles.
Okay, I'm going to guess genre. I think, gosh, to me, it has a Frankenstein feel. So I'm going to say like fantasy, but I'm going to say dark fantasy for me. Although I can see the others. I can see that it's so much red.
I can see I'm more on the sci-fi, but a fantasy. To me, this is genre bending.
All right. So
nonfiction biography.
Yeah, we have some guesses here. Spec fic, fantasy, nonfiction biography. Morgan, you were the closest when you started talking about Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Because it is in fact a historical fiction with gothic and a speculative fiction twist.
Okay.
There are some speculative fiction elements, but it is primarily a historical fiction book.
Interesting. What an interesting genre too. So I like how that's open for us to ask questions because even the genre is not that common. So for the uncommon cover to pull us in. I'm sorry, Teresa, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. You're fine. No, you're right. We should have picked up on the historical part with a long dress.
The dress is the giveaway, I think, here.
And the hair as well. Although
fantasy does that quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because fantasy draws from historic. And so I think that's where it gets confusing.
Well, and especially because fantasy, so historical women we've always tied up our hair because it's in our way, but we like having long hair for like fancy occasions or, whatnot. So the hair being down speaks to me a little bit more fantasy because we tend to romanticize that a lot more.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Wow.
All right. What do we think for titles?
The Blood Knot.
Ooh.
Something searching and something heart or blood.
Okay.
Something
Searching,
beating,
hunting.
something. I like something. That's kind of fun.
Beating.
Like actually the title, like.
Ooh, something beating.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, Sue in the chat
Did she get it?
accidentally actually got the title of this book.
Maybe she didn't accidentally.
Body
Maybe she
parts?
read it.
But we have some ideas: hearts, body parts, anatomy, heartbeat.
That's good.
The title is in
Heartbeat.
fact, I'm going to tell you because someone guessed it. It is anatomy.
Oh, good job,
but-
Sue. You're the best.
Okay,
That's
so this is
awesome.
something in a future episode I want to dig into. The subtitles. Because if you just titled a book Anatomy, would you think that that's fiction, or
You wouldn't know.
you wouldn't know? So adding the love story helps with that tremendously. And we're going to get into that, I think, in a future podcast. But
I also think that's why you have to leave the Neil Gaiman quote on the top, is to help,
Yep.
because
So-
the title doesn't hold it.
So and
well,
this
go ahead.
this
Sorry.
is actually, honestly, so this is a book I've actually read. I do recommend it, but it is about a woman who wants to be a surgeon in
Oh.
1817 Edinburgh,
Wow.
and she teams up with a body snatcher to try and solve a mystery illness that is overcoming the population of Edinburgh.
Wow, that's
So
fascinating.
there's actually a fair amount of dissection that goes on. So there's a lot of anatomy in this book.
Which I would 100% agree with the amount of detail in the dress/heart. There
Yeah.
would be I would expect a lot of detail. That's cool.
That's really cool.
All right, you all ready for the next one?
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of
yeah.
us probably know this
Oh,
book.
yeah.
I hope everyone knows this one.
All right,
So
but
let's-
what do we think
Try
the
to
genre
pretend
is?
we don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, if I just looked at the book, I would think it's historic.
I would too.
I might even think it would be like if
A
I didn't know
biography?
this book, yeah, I might be like the lives and poems of Walt Whitman.
Yeah.
or something. Or Tennyson, because he has the beard from the time,
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the trees kind of help. I think if I was to glance at it based on the long beard, I might go nautical. He's kind of got like a nautical look, but the trees, yeah.
That's what makes me feel like, to me, this feels very like Emerson, Thoreau, Whitman, transcendental. Feels like
Yeah,
the
there you go.
transcendentalist, because it's got the nature, but then it's also the face, which makes me think about wisdom, which actually I'm sure in the chat, have they told us what the title is? Because I want to wait, because
They
obviously.
haven't yet. I don't
Does
know if
anyone know?
they're just, I don't know if they don't know or they're just holding back.
I would agree. If people are saying biography, I would 100% go with biography.
Yeah, if
On
it's
this title.
biography
Yeah.
or poetry.
Yeah.
Talia went and said dystopian. So I'm not
It
sure if
is?
she it is dystopian. The book
It
is
is.
dystopian, but I don't know if she got that from the title or she just knew what the book was. I like this one because it's an example of like book covers have really changed.
Mm-hmm.
You don't.
Because this is an older book.
This
you're
is an
saying.
older book and an older book cover. Oh yeah, they're saying what it is now
Yeah.
because it is in fact The Giver.
Giver, which
Mhm.
teachers still love to teach. Because of
this-
the dystopian elements and because it's so relatable and the use of color in the book.
This cover would not fly now.
Mm-mm.
No way.
Which is kind of sad because there's a wisdom and a beauty to this cover.
There is, but this isn't marketable for the genre at this time.
No. It's not flashy enough, I think.
And I think
this is-
when I was
go
looking,
ahead.
like the only books that had like faces, like realistic faces on them,
Mm-hmm.
were historics and like biographies, autobiographies kind of thing.
100% agree with that. So this is one thing, you see a lot of, this is a mistake new authors or can make, which is not knowing what cover is marketable now. You can't look 10 years ago. You can't even look 5 years ago. It has to keep up with modern trends. And you're seeing a lot this year, a lot of the most popular covers are very cartoonish almost.
Mhm.
We're not seeing real, and Molly said this, we're not seeing real faces. We're not seeing real pictures on covers at all.
And I bet that will swing. That'll be a
It will.
pendulum.
It will. But
Mhm.
that's the other reason too. It's important to update your covers constantly as well.
Even The
on.
Giver has had this exact book has had multiple covers.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
I have 4 or 5 in right now. But
We have some insightful stuff. I wanted to hit Samantha saying the gaze that he holds. Talia is saying that it gives her dystopian vibes because he looks so worn down and the cover is very bleak, and that the trees almost look like they're on fire.
Yep.
oh, I
Wildfire
like that.
Season.
Oh, that's a good title. Wildfire Season.
We should just rename The Giver to Wildfire Season. Are you guys ready for the next one?
Ready for the next.
The wildfire.
This is less of a lovely Photoshop job for me. It was too hard, so I just blocked out the title for you. But this was, I'll give you like a little hint. No, wait, I won't give you a hint. I'll let you figure it out, and then I'll tell you the genre.
So the genre is somewhere around fantasy, not even urban fantasy, magical realism, and YA-ish.
Morgan, do you have a guess?
I'm trying to ignore that I know the author.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm trying to just like judge the cover. So
I should have taken the author off there. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, it's great, but it's just such a great author. I mean, I really like.
She does play in a couple different genres.
That's true. To me, this is a fantasy cover, because it's holding like the symbolism of the gods and the goddesses through the statues. And then it's almost like a dual world POV in the sense, or the world turned upside down. So it might have, like, to me, this cover promises a new look at our world, or a world that has maybe different rules or plays by different rules, that's unique and interesting, almost like Stranger Things in the modern context.
I would say this is a portal book.
Yeah.
I love the hands. Like it's just like this little detail, and then like I don't know if this is like a ghost or something like flying around. I don't know, but it's cool.
Like a haunting.
Oh,
that's why I thought of Stranger Things, because it's like above board it looks like this, and then under it looks like this, like the different.
Well, and this is not the topic. This is not the day for this conversation, but we've struggled to give Stranger Things a genre.
Well, we have genre bending things out there. I will tell you. So first off, people in the chat, Samantha had Twisted Romeo and Juliet.
Ooh.
Right. Fantasy magical realism, but almost sci-fi vibes, sci-fi horror. I will tell you that Goodreads categorized it as young adult fantasy. Now, I think it is kind of genre bending, but it that's where it was categorizing it.
Oh, okay. What about something like with the angels or spirits and home in the title, like the house or the mansion of angels or spirits, because how the angels are juxtaposed, or the spirit of, I don't know. I would
look
at
this and I would say like the dark reflection.
Ooh, I like that one.
Although, okay, so here's what I just got a little bit obsessed with staring at. It's two different houses.
Yay, Mark.
Oh, it's true.
Is it two different houses?
Yeah, they are two different houses.
Are you sure it's just not an inverted look?
Positive.
How do you know?
Because it's missing the spire. The red one is missing the spire.
But maybe that's the hope in the religion, and it's broke off because the spire is the part that goes to God, right?
Yeah, maybe the houses are identical except for the spire.
Maybe. That's a lot of detail to throw into a cover.
This is fun.
Yeah. All right, you guys want to see the real cover?
Yeah. Shout out to Mark. He's on my page.
This is Galleons.
I haven't read this, but I need to.
And this was the top young adult fantasy book of 2022, according to Goodreads and their reader voting.
I still think it's two different houses.
I love that this is
not.
A new title. Or this reminds me of kind of the 70s and 60s covers that were more reflective, and I'm happy to see the pendulum going back to this.
This is a really cool cover.
where the cover is actually art and it's saying something, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
we could do a whole, and look at us all wanting to analyze it,
So-
and get into the deep
I want to know why it's a
symbolism.
different house.
So-
If it's a
Right?
different house.
So
Yeah.
the next one I want to do, I analyzed a lot of titles, but again, if this is interesting, I want to go back and analyze covers and like look at colors. Like, is there colors in different genres? Are book
There
covers
is.
primarily like one color, two-toned? Which genres have faces on them? Things
Right.
like that. So if that's something interesting to you guys, let me know, because I'll get obsessed with it. Here's the next one. I imagine we all know what this one is. It's Batman.
So this is comic book. I would say that's the genre.
This
What
looks
is
old to me.
Batman?
So I would say this is like
Urban.
50s or 60s. I don't know.
Yeah.
This looks really old.
This is old.
Dated.
This is old and dated. This is another one that I wanted to show you guys is old. But I think you could
Beautiful,
update
though.
this one pretty quickly to look modern.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the design elements are kind of classic.
Dracula.
Is that
Dracula.
Is that a guess or
Sure.
No, it's the Dark Knight.
Nope. I want it to be Dracula.
No,
I just say
yeah.
something other than.
Oh, it is Dracula.
it is Dracula?
I've
Which is it's
probably
not
seen the
even the
cover.
original cover of Dracula. This is another book that has had a lot of covers through the years.
That's the original cover.
No.
So the
this
red.
isn't the original, is it?
I don't know. The red, you were just talking about color and genre and covers. The red tends to speak toward horror because it speaks of blood.
I love how many people are getting comic book vibes out of it.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
It has some real comic book vibes.
Mhm.
Which comic books, there's always been an overlap with comic books and novels like this. Like I don't know what the public thought of Dracula when it first came out, but can you see this being, if it came, well, I'm going to take that back. I would say if it came out today, it probably would be considered literary. But at the time, was it considered like Dickens? I don't even know if Dickens and Bram Stoker wrote at the same time.
No.
I'll let Morgan tell us that.
I think it was very edgy.
Mhm.
From my understanding, from my remembering, I haven't lectured on this in like you guys maybe 10 years. But if I remember correctly, and if I'm wrong, correct me, but I'm pretty sure that this was considered very controversial. I
Mhm.
would compare this to like 50 Shades of Grey
Wow.
That
in the sense
controversial.
that it was
Oh,
considered very like, oh,
there was some romance stuff in there.
There was, yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that in my analysis of just what I know about, because only you, this was a book you would hide if people came over.
Exactly. That's kind of what
very-
I was thinking.
So I'm feeling like the comic book cover would be to lighten it and make you get a more character-y image in your head, so it wasn't so scary, because at that time the threshold for the horror genre would have been a lot different, right? Like there wouldn't have been that many books in that genre.
Huh. Talia.
Talia?
You want to say it? You can say it, Teresa.
No. So Talia brought up a really good point. This would actually be a really cool art print, the anatomy cover too. We need to bring that back for books. So that is coming back. If you go to places like WonderCon, Comic-Con, where books and arts are being sold, a lot of times tables will have cover art for sale because the covers are so fantastic. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Here's my follow-up question on this one. We'll be a little judgy here. If you saw this title or this book cover, right? Would you pick up this book and read it? If you didn't know anything about Dracula or anything like that, you just saw this book cover, would this book cover get you?
No.
Tell us in the chat though. Hopefully some people would say yes.
I would. This to me looks dated. I honestly, if I saw this, I'd be like, wow, that cover artist needs an update.
Yeah. Versus like if I saw the anatomy one, I think that's
I picked that book up
right?
for
You pick it
sure.
up.
Yeah.
Or Gallant. I want to read it, and part of it is because the title looks so, or the cover looks so cool.
Yeah, the depth in the cover makes promises about depth in the writing in Gallant. It
Sam,
promises symbols.
yeah. Sam said she would for
Yeah.
Dracula, but Sue says no.
Thanks, Sue.
I feel like Sam
Oh,
is more adventurous. Ooh, that one's pretty. Ooh, yeah.
All right,
do
we
it.
should go to the next one?
Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Can't tease us. That's
Ooh,
so pretty.
I hid.
That's
I
very pretty.
again. This was one where it's got so much detail that I had to. I had to just put blocks over the title name and the author name. You don't get the author name either. But this was one of our thumbnail images, so if you know what this one is.
I love this title.
All right,
this cover.
genre. What do we think the genre is? Let's start there.
YA,
Fantasy.
fantasy, magical realism. Probably more on the fantasy side.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say this is YA.
All right, this is YA. Or sorry, this is fantasy. This is not YA.
Oh.
adult, huh?
It is adult. They
Is it an oceany, right?
but
Not a
there's some
romance.
not controversy. You're not too far off with the YA vibes here, Teresa. We'll tell you why.
Oh, good, because people in the chat agree with me. Yes, vindicated.
This author started off as a YA author, but this book is not a YA book. And yes, I would say that there is a lot of romance in this book for whoever.
I would
said
say,
that one.
yeah, that would say romance. Maybe even LGBTQ plus romance too.
Mm.
I might expect some of that.
Mhm.
All right, titles. Let's come up with some titles here.
Geez.
The Snake Man.
Oh, see, I'm getting an oceany vibe off of this.
Yeah, the serpent of the seas.
Oh,
I did too, but when you look, these are feathers.
But it looks like
And
a
lightning.
nautilus
And
up
lightning.
in the top corner.
Yeah.
And the color, yeah, the lightning and everything else. It's something to do with gods or demigods,
Yeah.
especially with the moon.
Crescent. Could do something with crescent.
Ooh.
The gods under the sea. I'm sorry, I'm still going for the sea stuff.
That's
You're
fine.
right. I think it is. If you look at the bottom in the lightning, I think it is skies. So it could be serpent of the skies.
Ooh, I like serpent in the sky of the skies. We had Sue has one, feathers and a serpent. I don't know if she's just describing things on the cover. That's where we've gotten.
That's
to.
kind of what you're supposed to do to start with it, though, is you'd like throw out
Mhm.
words like feathers, wings, crescent, and you try to.
Lightning, thunder, the thundering gods.
It's also gaudy.
Yeah. So we do have Serpent of the Sea, Song of the Sea. We're actually not too far. You guys want to see it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. We're ready.
First off, I think some people in the chat know what this is, or at least they know who the author is. Morgan, I imagine you might know who the author is here.
I'm feeling like it's Sarah J. Maas.
This is Sarah J. Maas. This is
And
her
she loves
newest book.
Crescent City. So that's
Eh,
what I was thinking.
And this is the newest novel in her Crescent City
Yeah.
series.
House of Sky and Breath.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I should have thought of her
So
with the houses.
I
yeah.
when I first saw this, I do think it's really interesting because when I first saw that, there's something about it which says water and ocean. But when
Yeah.
you do look at it, it is sky. It's all sky. It's feathers and clouds and lightning.
See,
But
I
there's
think
something about it that says water.
and I think unless there is water in it, I think that might be a mistake.
I don't think so because the world building. I didn't read this book, but I read the first one in the series. The world building has like different houses, and so like there's the House of Sky and Breath. There's like the House of Earth, and then there's like 4 different ones, and water's in a different
Realm.
different category.
So I'm going to rephrase, not mistake, a misstep.
Mm.
I think this is a very oceany cover. Even as I'm looking at it, I'd be curious to know why the publisher went with this. Especially, even the character's chest, it has like oceany, like wavy feelings
But
to
it has
it.
the wolf, too, in the middle.
Maybe it's like the hair. The hair looks like it's underwater.
Maybe that's what it is.
because it also is icy. You can see it
Mhm.
as winter.
Yep. Oh yeah, it definitely feels very cold.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm getting sky and breath from this.
When I look at the individual elements, right, I can see that there's lightning. I can see that there are feathers. I can see that it's kind of framed around him as wings. I can see some clouds. I can see that when I look at individual elements. But when I look at it as a whole, it looks like water.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's what breath might be about. And Sue is a genius, and she says that they look like seashells in the corners.
I agree. It looks like a nautilus.
And so if you think about water and breathing, so maybe the call to breath is like going to be combining,
like breathing
the two
underwater.
houses. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Now, I guess this is the next question. Would we read this book? Do we want to read this book based off of the title?
I'm going to read it.
I might.
It's not whether you will read it. Does the cover entrance you to read it?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, you're no on this cover.
I'm a yes on that. Although the sea seems kind of harsh to me, honestly.
Honestly, I don't like the lightning.
Oh, I liked the lightning.
Anyway.
This is fun. Look at us all debate. Okay, what about the...
Do you guys want to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
I like it when we all disagree. Aww.
All right, genre.
Oh, this is a romance, but this is also probably an older couple.
I hope it's comedy.
Second chance. It could be a comedy. I can see it being a second chances romance. I agree. There's probably a comedic vibe. It's light. It's something that it's nice to read on the beach with a glass of wine or a margarita. You would walk away from this. Yeah.
But we're on the beach.
I would walk away from this. Like if I was feeling horrible, and just like, I just want something positive and just like, I just want to feel good. I would pick this book up.
All right. Do you guys want to know? Do we have any? The people in the chat are still stuck on the last cover.
We've moved on, people.
Go back to Sarah J. Maas. We got to talk about that.
We need to just talk about Sarah J. Maas in a future episode. But anyway.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
I'm gonna have to. Well, let me know because then I'm gonna have to do some reading.
Yeah.
That's a commitment right there.
Right. That's why I'm like, please let me know. Give me 6 months advance notice.
This is a graphic novel. And I
Oh.
will tell you, it is a graphic novel aimed at YA.
Really?
And it is YA romance, YA kind of comedic romance. So,
see, I didn't get YA off of this.
Using your graphic novel title information. Title. What do we think the title is of this? Oh, and Talia has a great thing about she loves that the hearts look like falling snow.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's beautiful.
Love just falls on you. Yeah.
Let's see. So graphic novels, one word titles. Volume 4. You've got the font is really interesting on this one. Actually, I should have looked at the font earlier because the font changes. So we've got kind of the curly Q handwriting one, and then a little bit more of a comedic or a horror. It's supposed to be comedic. One.
That's a good point. It's 2 different fonts on the same cover.
I'm still stuck on second chances.
Second chances. All right.
Which I don't, but if it's YA, that's not correct.
My title would be When the Love Falls in honor of Talia.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Oh, Mark has Love, Live, Repeat.
That's nice.
I like that. I like that.
I will go and show you guys. It's Heartstopper.
Heartstopper.
See, okay. So look at this, and we're going to do this on another episode. Look at that font.
Yep.
That pushes it completely into comedy territory.
Look at at Teresa like, yes, you're going to teach us about fonts.
All right, here comes the question. Based on this cover, would you pick up this book and read it?
Yeah. I still say again that I would, this is my like, I feel terrible about myself. I need something positive and fun and cute to read. And then, you know, I'd be done with it and I'd close the book and I'd be like, I feel
You'd
better.
be like, I got a hug. I got a book
Yeah.
hug.
Yeah.
I think it
In a
does
comedy
promise that.
way. Yeah. And I'd be laughing and giggling and, you know, yeah,
I would
I
too.
like it. I
And
would
and
too.
chat's yes on this one too. They're like they're into it. All right, this isn't. I'm not going to tell you what this is. You have to tell me.
This is Dust Bowl Grapes of Wrath.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know it.
This is historic. So it's historical. It's Dust Bowl. It's there might be a dystopian vibe to it. But yeah, it's times are bleak.
I don't think it's dystopian. I think it's gritty realism. It's Grapes of Wrath.
Yeah.
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 So we know it's Grapes of Wrath. We know this is a historic cover. Would this cover work in the modern day or no?
Actually, it might because
I think it would.
I think because we're seeing the trend of more comic book kind of arty drawing styles of covers, this would work for now. It wouldn't have worked 5 years ago.
I'm agreeing. It looks retro in a way that's enticing.
Mm-hmm.
Would you read this book? And chat chime in. Would you read this book based on if you don't know anything about Grapes of Wrath and you picked
I don't
up
know
this
what
title?
this says about me. I would pick this book up before the humorous romance.
That's fine. Just you have different. That's fine.
Although Anatomy is still the best cover, I think.
I think Anatomy is the best cover. It's beautiful.
All right, let's go to the next one. The next one might be. Oh no, it's not. It's not my favorite one. But here, I think you might be able to get the genre on this one pretty quick.
Yeah. Horror thriller.
Why?
Oh,
how do you know?
yeah.
How do you know it's horror thriller? You knew right
'Cause
away.
somebody's burying a body and it's
How do you-
red.
That
It's
may
red.
not be bearing a body, but
And look at-
probably.
So look at the font. Look at the font again. Look at the
Red.
O and that little X in the U.
Ugh. X. So it might be a treasure.
So serial killer.
Ooh, serial killer.
I would
I
say
just
there's
be-
a serial killer involved in this one.
Alone in the Woods is with this kind of ambient glow is definitely makes you have the feels that you would not want to be there.
Mhm. Oh, heck no.
You better read it
And
from
we-
the safety of your house.
Yeah, and we know it's out in the middle of nowhere. Something bad has happened because either somebody is treasure hunting, doubtful, or burying a body.
Yeah. So we have Mark saying horror comedy.
Oh, I'm not getting a comedy vibe off of this one at all. That's interesting.
Yeah. But
Only the station wagon, maybe.
it's a station
After
wagon.
Christmas
That's funny.
vacation, if you put a station wagon in anything, I feel like.
Oh my
I-
gosh, that's funny.
I could see maybe because like some of the words are kind of like different and weird. Like even the L in novel is backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
See,
not sure if
serial
I'm not sure if it
killer.
is because like you have the serial killer vibes where like what like the cutting out of the letters and stuff like that. But I could see where, you know, if they were going for some comedic there could be. All
I don't
right.
see that. I see mentally disturbed.
Oh, heck
and like
yeah.
the glow coming off of him as he's shoveling.
Oh, there is. So that's actually an interesting point because the O that I said was kind of serial killery, it also looks kind of portal-y.
Hmm.
So I can also get magical realism or even a horror fantasy vibe off of this
Right.
one.
How about
Murder mystery.
aliens? Could you
Ooh.
do
Or
aliens?
aliens. No, I'm not getting an alien vibe off of this one.
I could see
There'd
it because
have
you
to
got
be
the
something in the
sky.
sky.
Look at how much sky there is and night sky. I don't know though. Here's
You're looking down though. Yeah.
here's the question. Novel. What do we think the title is? What title do we have for this one?
Very
Oh, Sue has
elite.
camping mishaps. I like that one.
Ooh. I-
So camping mishaps, that would be a comedy title.
Yeah, but it's funny.
Murder under the night sky.
The Murder Under, according to your rules,
Oh,
right?
okay. Yeah, that's right. The
Murder
murder under the
under-
night sky.
Right?
Evidence lost or evidence hidden.
Ooh.
I like the word
You're actually
secret.
close. Teresa's fairly close.
Ooh, hidden
Not
secret,
secrets. No.
darkness,
You guys are
Shadow.
actually very close. So I'm going to tell you guys.
shadow of hidden.
You're very close. Remember, horror tends to be short titles.
Right.
The
Right.
shadow, the hidden secret.
Hidden pictures.
Ah,
Ooh.
yes. Oh, look at that.
Isn't that
So-
pretty? And weird.
Wow.
I don't see that as pretty.
It's to me, it's like it's
That's
an
awesome.
intriguing cover.
In the sense that it's disturbing.
Yeah.
It takes the beauty of the sky and then it cuts it up, which I think is what it's trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Tally had one, Buried Deep.
I like that one.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's really good.
Yep. So would you, if you saw this novel and you read horror, yeah, I gotta assume that you read horror. Would you, this for reference is the Goodreads 2022 most readers' favorite horror book of 2022.
Ooh, now I definitely have to read it, but I was going to anyway because I like it.
I just bought it.
I'm selling people's books by accident here. All right.
Maybe we should.
So
Hey, we should all read it and do a culture club on this one.
yeah,
Might have to.
I like it. So for me, what would tip me?
Oh, sorry.
What would tip me? I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say one thing. The brilliance of the shovel and the moon. That is what made me buy it. Otherwise, without that, I would have been like, oh, cool.
It's definitely got some interesting light and dark, like shadow themes in here, and I hope that would be in the book.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think last one.
Yep.
Last one, we can do this last one because
Yeah.
I think this cover is so cool.
Oh, that's just romance fantasy. But dark. This is dark.
In the chat, I do not get a cut at the sales. Maybe I should have. we are not sponsored by anybody. I just picked covers that were modern, mostly either classics or modern, specifically modern ones that were popular via Goodreads. So they matched my title assessment that I did today.
I like it.
Nice.
Jewels of
Okay.
the eyes.
All right. So
skull,
what do we think?
jewels.
This is dark fantasy.
Dark fantasy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
This
in
is
fantasy, in titles have kings and queens and king of the jeweled skull or something.
fantasy.
And the roses. The roses also speak. So roses speak to fairy tales.
Mm.
Ooh.
Okay.
And the
Look
thorns.
at that. And the
Mhm.
thorns. Yeah.
Yep.
'Cause every rose has a thorn.
Yep. So I will tell you, this is a YA.
Oh, yeah.
And I do
Should've
believe it
done
is
that.
dark fantasy. All right, guys. Give me a time.
Okay. Roses and death. Death and roses.
Death and roses. Roses and death. Like it. I think death and roses
Thorns
sounds
of
better.
the jeweled king.
Thorns of the
Ooh.
jeweled king.
I like
Nice.
thorns. Thorns of death. Thorns of life of thorns. Trying to do the juxtaposition of like,
The skull. I like that. So you
Yeah.
have a picture of death, and so you have life on that.
but it's got the roses too. And I think as well, whoever the skull is representing is alive, maybe the embodiment of death, or maybe dead inside.
possessed. Maybe it's a
Mm.
possession.
I was
Maybe.
like the undying king.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we
That's
have
nice, Molly.
rubies and roses
Yeah, good.
Mhm.
and
Good, love that.
kingdom of the cursed.
Okay.
Oh, I like that. I like that king. Oh, I like
Ooh.
that. Again, playing on the death vibe with the kingdom. The roses tell me there's hope though,
There's also crown of
or
gems.
romance.
Crown of Gems is interesting.
Yeah, I believe there is a lot of romance in this book as well.
Yeah, I would say there's
All right, you
but
guys,
but maybe not healthy
Yeah,
romance.
we're ready.
you ready? You ready?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep,
Because
yep.
I'll tell you, Sue got pretty darn close.
Oh, Kingdom of the Feared. Ooh, I like that title.
All right, so would we read this book based on the cover?
Not if with it being YA.
Oh, for me, it's a yes. For me, I actually kind of want to read this book now.
For me, the title actually took it down for some reason.
Ah.
Yeah, I agree.
It made it, because the lack of specificity in the title, Kingdom of the Feared, seems very generic.
All right, so you liked the cover, but you don't like the title.
And I don't like the font of the title for some reason. It feels childish compared to this, like, it doesn't seem to fit, like, this intense, like, the picture had me gripping, like, actually afraid. And that to me is like, oh, fun. Oh, Indiana Jones. I don't know.
And
it doesn't feel to fit like it fits.
I agree. And the YA elements and the title now make me think it's going to be high school drama. Oh my God, so-and-so said this about me. Did you hear what so-and-so said?
Should I be with this boy or this boy? He might kill me if I don't go with him.
But like, I mean,
exactly.
Like, he's super like jealous all the time, but like I feel like he loves me and I love him. So like,
so we're going to be together forever in the Kingdom of the Feared. Because
I
mean, I get it. It'll work out, I'm sure.
It's probably a great book.
It probably is. We just took our
we're judging not about the book. Well, this is not a judgment.
Yeah, no. We have no idea what the book is about.
All right. So thank you guys. This is the title activity. Hopefully you guys had fun with book covers and titles.
I learned so much, Molly. Thank you.
And let us know again. Me and Morgan did a ton of research on titles, and then I'm also going to do like a big, I think, deep dive into like the art and colors, faces, iconography that's in like modern titles. So if that's something that's interesting to you,
heck yeah,
let us know, because I don't want to do it for nothing. It's going to be a bit of a time commitment. Mm-hmm. So let us know, and then we'll know that you guys will want to enjoy it and it's worth doing.
Yay.
Agreed. I think it's worth doing anyway, just for my own knowledge. I would love to know more.
I know. You would love for me to do work.
I would help, Mimi.
I think we should end this by titling our 2023 upcoming year.
Oh, that's very optimistic.
Right. Well, a lot of times we start our books, we come up with a title before we start. So let's.
I don't.
Before we get to that, I did want to give. We are giving there's a little shout out in the chat to Sue, who did get surprisingly close to a lot of the titles just by guessing and just by like trying hard.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, Sue, do you want to come be our guest host?
Yeah, apparently she is in tune with the market. She knows what the market wants for titles. So anyway, yeah. What should we title? What is our aspirational title for 2023? And you guys in the chat, what are your aspirational titles for your upcoming year? What do you hope?
Yeah, Santi had one that was really good for 2022. My chat is not holding, but it was like a really positive, like all the things I wanted and more, I think.
Ooh.
Oh, I like that.
This is 2022. Yeah. So positive.
Maybe grab the dream for 2023.
I like it.
How about getting an agent?
Grab the dream.
Samantha's
which means I actually have to do the query work.
You're getting there.
Samantha's is focused opportunities.
Oh,
there you go.
Love it.
I like that.
I feel like Teresa's 2022 one was intentionality. Just saying.
I would like that to be better for 2023. I would like 2022 was a rough year. So I'd like it. I'd like 23 to be better. How about that?
Here's mine for you.
Can't get worse.
Take names.
Kick butt and take names.
I like it.
Let's go. That's gonna be mine for 2023. Let's go.
I want a little on the aggressive end for me. Like, no, I'm not complacent. I'm gonna kick butt.
Oh,
I'm gonna do it.
What about not complacent?
Yeah, there you go.
I love it.
Get out of bed, girl.
But here's the problem. I love sleeping.
I was thinking for me. And
I would
Yep.
love to kick butt and take names, but I would also love to just
2023.
like take a lot of naps.
The year we get out of bed. Like, I don't know.
Oh God.
Or the year for us three, the year we get to go to bed, or the year we get to sleep or something.
Oh
Well,
No.
I think part of this is you guys have noticed we're gonna get a little bit real for just a little bit as we wrap up.
Yeah.
You guys have noticed probably that as a semi-stages, we've gone through different iterations, and we've just gone through another one. There many of you noticed there were 4 of us, now there are 3, which is a change, right? And with each change, there are pros and cons and new opportunities. And so for us, looking forward to 2023, we really kind of want to try new things. And we have some ideas on where we want to go. We've had a lot of fun with Culture Club. We've had a lot of fun with some of our review stuff and doing things a little bit differently. So we just want to say thank you all so much for your support, for joining in on these live streams, which have been so much fun.
They really are.
And, for what we have in store for 2023. And we hope, you will stay along with us for the ride. And, if there are things you like and don't like, you want us to do more of, let us know, because now is the opportunity to adapt and, focus our opportunities like Sam said.
I know. I was like, work them in, Molly. That's perfect. And also more for progress and partners. I love that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then she changed it to, and I love this,
Aw,
Progress, Partners, and Paw Prints. Which, she has the
That's
love
a memoir
that.
title right there.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
that is a memoir title. That's
Memoirs
beautiful.
had titles that had lists. They were list titles. Not all of them, but many of them.
Well, look at the beautiful alliteration that she's using there.
Yeah. That's really nice.
Focused opportunities is great. I wonder also, that inspires me about fearless opportunities, or like, because since I'm afraid, trying to like seize those things. So I love that. Oh, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity.
All right. I think that means we need to wrap up. Everyone have great, happy holidays. Yay! Thank you for joining. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, 5-star, whatever it is. We really appreciate you and helping other people in the algorithm find us and enjoy times with us.
Exactly.
Any final thoughts from you ladies?
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for continuing to follow us on this journey. We're about to hit year 3. And as Molly said, we got some fun stuff planned.
Yeah. Thank you so much to everyone. Can't wait to see you on Discord. 2023. Let's get it. Let's go.